Rachel goes to Joseph's father's party after hearing that there was an accident. She calls the manager of the dead house and tells him that they have a problem. She says the code name is Sean. It looks like he used his power. The director tells her he used his power. What do you mean by that? Rachel says we can trace Sean to the crime scene, but Sean had already left when we arrived, and there were a lot of severely injured adult men in the place. No matter how skilled Sen is, this should be impossible because of the three absolute principles. The director of the dead house says, "This is unbelievable. This has never happened before in the history of our dead house. That's why it's called the three absolute principles. If Sin breaks the three absolute reciprocal, won't be a normal thing anymore. Those weapons we sold at the dead house might ignore her orders and target Rachel. We'll change the process. Investigating Sin's matter is the highest priority. Watch him closely and find out if he really used his power without permission. If you need any support in Korea, you can ask the White Tiger Forces." Two men appear to be members of the White Tiger Forces. One of them says, "What is all this? All of this was made by a middle school student." He answers, "Yes. Taking care of this situation will make me lose my hair." One of them says, "Do boys these days wear those things like clothes?" His classmate says to him, "They say she is Russian." They are open. On the morning of the second day, she goes to school dressed as a teacher. She says to herself, "Sin, I have already completed a preliminary investigation about you. You have already attended Yenha Middle School. Your parents are supposed to be abroad, but they were parents without identity. Code name, Sin. What are you doing here? I will find out everything. I am very excited. How much our Sin has grown. I wonder, Sin, you were the best among the children I trained, and you mastered every weapon I taught you to perfection." You call Sin's class and look at the students. You look at her and say, "What was that, Sin, then? That dirty boy, Sin." Rachel said to herself, after she looked at Sean Urshan. The hierarchy in the dead house. The season happens every year, a fight to measure everyone's fighting strength and determine who is superior. Their challenge to me was very nice, yes, and Sean was always the strongest. But why do you look at one of the students beating up Sean after he bullied Joseph, telling him to wait, slow down, sorry? Rachel enters them, disguised as a teacher, to test them. She says to herself, "Yes. This is a school. If he hides his true identity, he will not use his power recklessly. This means, then, that he is still under the control of the three principles." You look at him while he is writing on the test paper, and you say to continue, watching him with those serious, sharp, sophisticated eyes. "As I expected, Sin, you are different. The good children of the dead house do not only have physical strength, but also intelligence, and Sin always stands out among them." You go to him and say, "As you expected. Even if you hide your strength and your intelligent side, it is not possible to manifest it in that case. This is reprehensible. If it is a disguise, then even this must be hidden. I will teach you again if the opportunity arises." You look at the test paper and find that he is drawing. You are shocked by this. You hit him on the head and say, "What are you currently doing during the lesson?" She then goes to the bathroom and says, "This is preposterous. There is no way Sen could be so stupid. This is strange. His face seems familiar somehow, but I don't feel any fear at all. Is it possible that this is all a coincidence? It is impossible for Sen to be that fool. The plan has changed. It is not just about controlling the three principles." She changes her disguise and comes out of the bathroom, and says we have to wonder if that boy is really codename Sin, or if she follows him after the end of the school day. Xian says, "This hurts a lot. The teacher doesn't hit me that hard." Rachel usually says to herself, "If you weren't Sin, you would die at my hands, boy." Sharon meets with his father, Hyan Ho. She tells him, "Where are you going?" Hyan Ho's father says, "We will meet here again, just in time. Can you help me carry some things, my dear?" Siwon says, "Yes, I will carry it." We then go to his father's store, Hyan Ho, and Rachel is still following him and watching him closely. He eats quickly. His father, Hyan Ho, looks at him and tells him, "Eat slowly." Rachel looks at Siwon while he is eating his meal and says to herself, that he is just as obscene as she thought. The closer she looks, the more obscene he becomes. Indeed, I am not Siwon boy. How dare he show his obscenity like this, with the same face as our Sin. Rachel goes to try the taste, but shouts that it is spicy. Bring me water. Hyun's father gives her water and tells her that you cannot tolerate spicy food. Rachel says to herself, I can't stand it. Are you kidding me? This is torture. Eat it. This is really more important than their entire mental health. These crazy Koreans. This is actual poison. Are you trying to assassinate me? Siwon tells her, you should eat slowly. You're really clumsy. Rachel says to herself, I swear, I'm going to kill you. You're bound to die. Come to think of it, our Siwon can't handle spicy food either. She always held his hand during those times. If he was upset in Korea, he must be suffering from both things. Look at him and say to herself, he is trying to tolerate spicy food. He is an idiot. Don't eat. You just cannot bear and eat what is given to you. If it's hard for you, don't eat. Siwon remembers when he met Hyun Cho's mother after he left school and helped her, and she says to herself, when thinking about something at that time as well, this boy complies with all the orders of that woman. Hyun's mother asks Siwon to help her lift some items. He helps her move the box. Rachel looks at her and says to herself that he is listening to her. It is impossible for Siwon to act according to the constraints of the three principles. Yes, such fine work is impossible without an order, but it is possible if someone Sin orders the destruction of Pyeongwoo construction. And if there is anyone here who might have such a motive, it is just this woman. The first principle of the good children of the dead house. The father's words are absolute. Yes, Sin sees that woman as his mother and complies with her orders. This theory is complete in all respects. Rachel pays for the meal. She says, I'll pay for this, ma'am. His father, Hyun Cho, says to her, wait, I'll look for some change for you. Rachel says to herself, there's a simple way to confirm this, then. She decides to throw the chopsticks at Hyun Cho's father. No, Kun Shion takes the chopsticks away from Hyun Cho's mother and goes to Rachel. He hurries from the table. They go to a place near the store. Rachel says, as expected, the third principle, the good children of the dead home. If a threat to the parents' safety arises, ignore the other two principles and assume the situation. He attacks her to hit her, but she repels the attack and tries to stab him with chopsticks, but he dodges. He tells her seriously, stop, really, intending to follow me all day. Aunt Rachel looks at him and says, it's really you. I haven't seen you for a long time.